Welcome back to Talk of the Town on 99.7, 1450 WHTC and WHTC.com.
And we welcome you back to Talk of the Town for this Wednesday, July 14th. Once every 3 months or so, we are very pleased to have Alex Doty from the Ottawa County Road Commission joining us to tell us about not only some of the projects going on in Ottawa County, but also some road questions. He can't answer every one of them because some of the questions you might pose, A, are in Allegan County, and he doesn't handle that. And B, it is state trunk roads. And, well, let's put it this way. The Ottawa County Road Commission has to plow those roads, but still, that's a state issue. And thirdly, and Alex will join us right now on our Zoom connection. Thirdly, he can't answer a lot about railroad crossing situations because by federal law, railroad crossings are handled by the railroad companies. Alex, good morning. Welcome back to WHTC.
Good morning. How are you?
We are well, and we'll start with the railroad crossing situation. I know a couple of years ago, it was a very popular topic on these airwaves, dealing with the railroad crossing on Pine Avenue and 7th in Holland. And a lot of, let's just say the squeaky wheel finally got the grease. Well, Chesapeake and Ohio crews have been very busy last week and this week dealing with railroad crossings from basically the eastern edge of Ottawa County to the western edge of Zeeland. 2 are done. Another should be done today. Another is under progress, and another one will be opening up tomorrow. Tell us about the ones that you've been notified by CSX that we got one that's coming up close to Zeeland.
Yeah, like you stated, they've been working on a few over in the Hudsonville area here this past week, and then that we were notified earlier this week that they'd be starting some work on the crossing there at 80th Avenue, just north of Chicago Drive there in Zeeland. So, it's always good to hear that they're making these improvements. And, since they do affect our roads, we get the word out and let residents know that, there's detours in place because they need to tear into those crossings and they will be impassable while they're working on them. So, it is nice to see those improvements made because, like you mentioned, we do field complaints from the public about those, but, we do have to tell them that unfortunately our hands are kind of tied from, anything that we're able to do because it is ultimately the railroad who is responsible for those fixes. So, to see, the myriad improvements going on there along that stretch of Chicago Drive from east to west. It's great to see, and hopefully drivers will enjoy the smoother crossing once they're done.
I know I speak as one who does use those crossings a lot, especially in eastern Ottawa County. And last couple of years, work had been done on the Port Sheldon crossing as well as the Balsam Road, 32nd Street crossing, and the 64th Avenue crossing between Hudsonville and Zeeland. So these are the other ones going in. And the other thing, too, why the 80th Avenue crossing with Riley Street has become so, to a certain extent, necessary is over the last 5 years, especially with Riley now paved from basically from State Street 96 all the way to 80th. It has become basically a northern way to get across Zeeland. You have the middle way, which is Washington Avenue, the southern way, Main Street, and then finally Business 196. But the northern way, when it was a dirt road on Riley between Roosevelt and 80th, it wasn't travel as much. Now that it's paved, it's become a lot more popular.
Yeah. So, to have that, especially since it is a heavier traveled road, to have a smoother crossing for folks. I know a lot of the people that, worked at some of the industry over there use that route quite a bit. And so we've worked to let them know about this. And, hopefully people are aware that, it should take a few days and then things will be back to normal. There is a detour for that, so it'll take people down Chicago Drive, southwest to Washington Avenue, west to Fairview Street, and then north to Riley Street, and then back east to 80th Avenue. So a little bit of a jog, but like I say, just for a few days, and then they'll get that open back up, and things will be smoother and less bumpy for folks traveling across that track.
616-395-1450. If you have a question about Ottawa County roads, Alex Doty will be happy to answer it at 616-395-1450. A bridge rebuilding project that is not a normal bridge rebuilding project is finally complete in the eastern part, northeastern part, I believe, of Ottawa County, and it's sort of harkened back to an earlier day when we didn't have the reinforced concrete and all that to handle the heavy loads. This is a little bit different. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so our crews up in Chester Township recently completed a timber bridge project where they took out an older structure and then prepared the site and then installed a new bridge made out of timber construction. So it's nice hardwood that they used, and it's a really nice bridge. It was a first for us. Our crews from that area accomplished this task and did it in-house. So we were able to kind of learn the ropes as we tackled this project, and hopefully something that we can use down the road, as a cost-effective way for us to replace some of these aging bridges, especially on some of the more rural areas where they don't see it quite as much heavier traffic. And a timber bridge is a perfect solution because they can get the 50-year lifespan out of something that is a lot more cost effective, and it works just as well as a concrete structure or something like that. And so our guys started that back about 3 months ago, taking out the old structure, and then worked to prepare the site, and then got the new bridge installed. Spent some time up there working with an expert in the field who kind of showed them the ropes of that, so that they did it the right way, and now they have the expertise to move forward doing this themselves. And now it's been paved, and we've got the guardrail up, and they took the barricades down Monday evening. So I know a lot of drivers up there were happy to see that back open, and I was happy to see it open too, just to say that we checked that one off of our list. And we have a really cool, if you go on our Facebook page, we have a cool time-lapse video that we took. We mounted a camera right next to the project, and it shows in about a minute and a half, those three or so months of work from start to finish, and kind of gives you an idea of all that was involved from, like I say, demolishing the old structure, driving piles for the new structure, building of the new bridge, and then the pavers coming through, and then our guys going up there with the help of Muskegon County Road Commission, because they had some cool equipment to install that the barriers and get that back open for everyone. So like I say, if you follow us on Facebook, that's up there, and it's also on YouTube. If you search Ottawa County Road Commission Timber Bridge, we have some video clips on YouTube as well.
616-395-1450. If you have a question for Alex Doty, he is with the Ottawa County Road Commission. I don't want to say this is a long-term project, but then it is taking a few weeks to do. Rebuilding of Quincy between 120th and 96th. Pretty soon there will be a Quincy Street between 120th and 96th. Right now, let's just say it's really not there yet.
Yeah, so that was a kind of a cool project. We, kind of tied two projects into one there. We had a culvert that we replaced right along there, and then we also had a resurfacing project where we're widening that out with some paved shoulders. And that project, we decided to close the road entirely just because we were going to be cutting into the road and replacing that culvert, and then doing a process that's known as crush and shape, where we come in and a crew comes in with a concrete or a pavement pulverizing machine, and it reduces the existing pavement to, basically gravel. And we use that existing road surface to serve as kind of a base for a new road. And then they come back through and pave out a new asphalt on top of the old one. So, you kind of get a nice new road on top of that. We're in the middle of that right now. They have some base asphalt down on part of Quincy Street, and then they should be back in with that concrete or the asphalt pulverizing machine to reduce the rest of that road to the rubble, and then come back in and base the rest of it. And then here in a few weeks should be back in to, put the top course on, and we'll have a nice new paved road out there on Quincy from 120th to 96th.
616-395-1450. Good morning. You're on the line with Alex Doty of the Road Commission.
Alex, I just wondered what it takes to get a no Jake brake sign put up.
A no Jake brake?
Correct, for these semis.
I think that would be something you'd want to talk with the township about. I'm not certain, but a lot of times, the trucking and that kind of stuff, like with the signs and, truck routes, that starts at the township level, especially with, some of the noise and that type of enforcement. So I would start there first and then, see where that goes.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Thank you very much for the call. 616-395-1450, 616-395-1450. I'm going to go away from the culvert question for a moment, Alex, but I want to get back to it, but I want to get to a call first because there's something else I want to touch base with you on as well. Good morning. You're on the line with Alex Doty of the Road Commission.
Good morning. He was talking about the doing the wooden bridge. Why did they replace it with another wooden bridge? They get truck traffic or anything around that? Wouldn't a regular bridge been more economical in the long run?
Well, go ahead, Alex.
Yeah, so up where we put that new structure, we took out it was kind of a head concrete and metal beams and stuff like that, and it's in a rural area where really it's mostly vehicle car traffic going through there, and so the traffic volumes that go through that section of road up in Chester Township made sense for us to install that timber structure. Obviously, we wouldn't put something like that in say, I don't know, Riley Street or
No. And the thing is, though, in that particular stretch, and then caller, you can follow up on this. I believe there is a weight restrictions on the road as it is even before the bridge. So to a certain extent, truck traffic wasn't allowed on that road anyway.
Correct. Yeah, that's legal axle loads only along that stretch, and we have signs up prior to approaching that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like the wooden structure built, or would they like the regular bridge?
With the local residents, what was the local response? Did you feel, Alex, that the locals didn't mind the wooden bridge, or that they want something bigger?
I think they're fine with what's up there. Like I say, that stretch of road is, it's pretty. Like I say, there's just houses and a kind of a convention hall, little convention hall, Knights of Columbus type place there, and so it really isn't a fairly heavily traveled road, and so we feel that's it can accommodate heavier trucks and things, but it's not going to take heavy semi trucks and deliveries like a busier route, like say.
What about farmers with their hauling their tractors around or driving their tractors across?
Those farm weights, and then that's a good point. Appreciate the call. Farmers' weights with the tractors and stuff like that. It's not as heavy as the semis, is it?
No, and like I said, we made sure of all that when we're placing that structure. So we obviously we wouldn't put something in place that would impact farmers and anybody that does ag work up in that area, because that is a lot of those communities up there, they rely heavily on that, and we make sure that when we install something that it meets the needs of the community around there. So
All right. Appreciate the call. Thank you. 616-395-1450, 616-395-1450. I wanted to touch upon before the last caller, the Cape Seal and the Fog Seal. You're doing some of that work. It's not the full renovation, Alex, especially sort of in the outlying areas, but it to a certain extent, for lack of a better term I'm using, it freshens the road up. It gives it a little bit longer life.
Yeah, that's a good point. It is, it's a nice way to, extend the pavement life for those surfaces and, provide some, wear protection for the roads and, gives them a nice, kind of especially the Cape Seal, a nice smoother ride surface on those. So, we definitely, decide where we do those and, add some extra ride protection and surface. It kind of repairs the surface and keeps out moisture and
and then the thing with that, and then I'll take another call. The thing with that, Alex, is the fact that you don't have to really close the road as much. You don't have to close it to total overall traffic, but also how long, to a certain extent, you Cape Seal pavement. You get maybe an extra 5 years out of it, 10 years.
Yeah, it extends the life of pavement that much, and it gives us the time before we have to go in and do, say a more expensive surface treatment on something. So for example, we did 48th Avenue from Chicago Drive north there towards Hudsonville, Georgetown Township, and that sort of thing. And what that'll do is, it'll seal up that pavement and give it a nice, top layer to keep any of the elements out of there and kind of keep, cracks and stuff sealed out, and it'll extend the pavement life for that additional amount of time. So we don't have to go in and do something, more expensive right away. It'll kind of, shore that up a lot.
And of course, since 48th was originally paved, of course, it's gotten busier as a way between Hudsonville and Allendale, the GVSU campus. And of course, since that time, Unity Christian High School relocated its campus off of 48th, and so there's more traffic as well. Good morning. You're on the line with Alex Doty of the Road Commission.
Yes, I would like to know why they aren't widening 128th between Riley and the B line, because if you pass trucks on that road, and we do, and it's one of us are going to take the side of the road, and that's where it's breaking up all the time, is on the side of the road. But you won't widen it like the rest, because the semis do use this road quite often.
Let's see if we can get the response. Alex, talking about 128th.
Yeah, which section was that?
Ups. 128. Now, you had to note Beeline to Butternut, but this like Beeline's part of it, but the area about 128th in the Beeline area, maybe widening a little bit more so that you don't have to worry about vehicles swerving out of that area. The caller left us, so I'm not certain where the other one is, but that general area there.
Yeah, I know I'd have to look up and see, what the plans are for that specific stretch. I do know, when we do some of these newer resurfacing projects, we do add some paved shoulder on there for people to have more room along the shoulder, in case they have to drive off the road or anything like that for safety, if that's what she's alluding to.
Yeah.
Other than that, a lot of that time, it does, development factors into some of these paved projects and things like that. So
yeah, and of course there's always traffic studies that are being done ahead of time before making a decision about maybe going with 2 lanes with a turn lane to try to alleviate some of the traffic congestion. And of course, some of the roads, let's put it this way, they were designed in the 1970s when there wasn't a lot of commercial traffic. 40 years later, there's going to be a few more of those big trucks. You're going to need a little bit more of a wider space. Exhibit A, and your work, and the Ottawa County Road Commission is working on it right now. Cottonwood Drive, the stretch from Baldwin to Bauer has already been done. Now it's the stretch from Bauer north that's being widened. It's closed right now, but at the time, it was just a sleepy little road between Jenison and Allendale. Now, with the GVSU blossoming and more people moving up in that area, you're going to need to have a wider road.
Right. That's just like you say, development kind of focuses some of that effort and how we determine, what the projects will be. And, looking at that, it is, like you say, a heavier traveled road now. And, we get the center turn lane in there that allows, more traffic to have the ability to turn. And, we don't have those traffic impacts from people having to stop behind somebody or, turn and kind of add some safety with that. And then, one of the things too, real quick, I'd like to kind of address, the caller mentioned the bridge there up in Chester Township. I was looking at some stuff here, and it says, those bridges do take the same load as a concrete bridge will. And so, they take the heaviest legal Michigan load. And so that's kind of, answers that question for that caller there. They are.
Yeah. I was thinking along the lines of another bridge situation where it had to be reinforced a little bit, Byron Road, east of I-196. That had to be renovated a couple of years ago because there was the weight limits, and so there's still a weight limit there, but that became a heavier one because that is sort of like an alternative road when, MDOT's got to close I-196 and, they got to divert traffic. They'll divert it along Byron Road between 64th and the freeway.
Yeah. And, fortunately here, I believe next month, fingers crossed, we're anticipating some work on that bridge. So stay tuned for, some announcements there once we have some details firmed up. But we're excited about being able to get that bridge repaired and back up to par.
Alex, one more thing before we button up our conversation today, and you talked about the culvert work on Quincy and that stretch between 120th to 96th. With obviously the concern that the Road Commission has about, bringing pavements up to speed, bad pavements, old pavements, and the like. Is the Road Commission finding that maybe as much of a concern about old pavement needing to be replaced is dealing with culverts? It's as if there's more and more culvert work being done. It's almost as if we got a lot of old culverts. They need to be replaced, and that's why we got some road issues.
Yeah, so that's a good point, and something that we do take stock of. We ran a culvert assessment, so we know the condition of those structures, and we log them and know the location of them, and we did that a few years ago, and then that allows us to go in and kind of come up with a plan to replace those. Every year as part of our strategic improvement plan, we look at replacing some of those larger ones especially. And then, when we go in and have a resurfacing project, we like to go in and replace those culvert structures before we go in and redo a road, because it gives us a nice time to, especially when the road is going to be repaved, go in prior to that being done, get the old culvert out, replace it with a new one, update that infrastructure, and then, put new pavement over the top of it. That way we don't have a new road that's paved and then we have to go in and cut the road open and put something in it. Just keeps everything nice and neat, and it's real efficient that way to kind of tie everything together at once.
Our time with Alex Doty runs so quickly. There's a lot of other things I'd love to be able to chat with you about. We'd love to be able to take another call. Unfortunately, as they say, we're out of time. Alex Doty, as always, we appreciate your availability on a sort of a quarterly basis. So if all goes well, it looks like October. So next time we'll have a chance to chat with you. Wish you and everybody at the Road Commission well. And again, thank you for joining us this morning.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you very much, Alex Doty on 99.7 and 1450 WHTC.